At Freelancer Finance, we make money, and I have made good money on NIO.
Yes, my unsolicited opinion, just buy Tesla.
So let's start at least with the stock price of NIO, where it's at before we talk about NIODay. NIO has done quite well. And in fact, it's still looking pretty bullish, and I'll show you why. But you can see the chart of NIO from $3, basically in a channel, up until it hit a brick wall at around $56, $57.
Like, subscribe, and buy crypto.
And ring the bell. Started tanking, and you can see my trend line, right? Hopefully you can see it. Let me make it bigger a bit.
Well, that's I mean, someone who bought in at $3 is going to take profits at 60. There's just no way. Too many people accumulated at $3.
It touched this. It started moving. Another trend was up between the 21 MA and the 50. Yes, the 21 MA and the 50-day MA. So as soon as it crossed that, it bounced around the 21 MA. And obviously NIODay is a positive thing for NIO, so the stock pumped. And now look what happened.
Yeah, front run. And then then when the news came out, they were happy.
Well, I think what happens Monday is I'm assuming a correction will happen Monday, because this is actually important for people have front run the NIODay, and I'm assuming they'll take profits. If they don't have to, if everyone's super bullish about it, they'll just keep going up. But I'm assuming they'll take some profits.
We should also just explain what that means. When people just say that things were front run, they invest in the company leading up to the day. This way, if the news is good, then they'll be able to lock in that run up, and it can go up further from there. You saw this with Apple pre-split. When it was going to split, you saw this with Tesla when it was going to split. You saw it when Tesla was going to get into the S&P. You basically see it on any of these days where like everybody knows something's going to happen. So to your point, yes. And actually, but even with that RSI, even with that, the RSI is still not crazy.
It isn't crazy.
It might actually pop up a little more before it.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping for a pullback, because I am looking to buy more shares. So look at this. This was the maximum peak before, right? And it broke through. And so that is bullish, but still I would hope a pullback to the 21 MA, which is around $50. Like, that'd be great if it ended up at $50 and it held the 21-day moving average, because then if it holds, it's moving even further, I would think, beyond this like $60
you need a few days. Yeah, you need a few days.
Right. It might have to work itself out up until like on January 20th, 21st. Who knows if it actually goes down.
It could also break through a couple of times. It could break through and then dip and break through a few times, and maybe 4 times later it'll actually
possible. But now, if it's bullish, you see the 57. If it doesn't break that on Monday, Tuesday, I think we're going higher.
What are these? The 4-hour candles? Can you go to 1-hour candles?
No, these are daily candles. These are daily candles. And those are good to look at, like an actual longer trend.
That's kind of like, how did we end on the day?
Yeah. So we ended up positive on the day at $59, $58.92.
Can you pull
up
the
once
volume?
Again,
oh no, well, you can see it at the bottom.
Volume's down here.
Yeah, and there was a lot of buy volume. Look at that. Actually, in the last 8 days, only one day ended in the sell.
In the red. Yeah. So it's been very bullish, actually. I've done some cash covered puts.
You've sold
where I made money.
Cash covered puts.
That's right. I did 4 cash covered puts for NIO, $40, $41, and $45.
And it'll never hit that. Yeah.
And it never hit it.
Yeah.
No, it already didn't hit it.
Yeah.
And I collected, as soon as it was like 60% up or so, I just took the profits off of it.
Yeah.
I was like, 60% is enough. Try not to get greedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did those. I was actually hoping it would hit, because $40 is sort of a good price for it, and it just never hit.
That's people that expected horrible news leading up to.
I actually wished it would hit. I even did one at 45 when it was $46, because I wanted it to hit.
Just to see. Yeah.
No, because I wanted it to hit, because I wanted to get paid the premium and take the shares.
Yeah.
And it just never looked back, and it went straight up. So it's very bullish right now. I would not bet against NIO. And if it, like I said, if it touches this and it bounces, we're going way higher. I don't know where we're going to, but maybe in the 70s.
Quite possible.
Yeah. It's definitely possible to go in the 70s. But if we break this and it comes down, I'm thinking this 21-day MA, which will end up somewhere around $52. somewhere around here, that's probably a good opportunity to go buy some NIO. You know, like, let's talk about the new car. So NIO revealed its ET7 sedan on Saturday with a pre-subsidy starting price of 448,000 yuan, which is 70 grand. But honestly, the car goes all the way up to 80,000. So I think, look, they're not competing against the Model 3, the Y. I don't understand where this is going to, because I agree with you, at least in this case. NIO should have went the other way to compete against the 3, and now they're just competing at the ultra high end, which is not as lucrative as the Model 3. And even Tesla says we're making all the bank from the Model 3 and the Model Y. That's where all the money.
Model Y is making bank, but they're only doing that now because they have the Model S. That was his plan. Sell a great sports car, make a bunch of money, take that money, make an affordable car, take that money, make an even more affordable car.
Right. You know? Well, it seems like NIO's going the other way. They're going like high end or more high end stuff.
How much was their cheapest car?
Which
40
one
grand,
is it?
right?
The EC6.
What,
EC6.
The EC8 is what they announced on the last.
Well, that's the bigger one, but we're looking at the smaller compact
right,
one.
But I thought that was the 6-seater was not.
So here's like the EC6.
CUV.
It's 368,000 yuan, 52,000 to 526,000 yuan, 75,000. So there's a price range, the lower end being 52. But China does have a subsidy for, and this is the other thing China did for people who have interchangeable batteries, which is like 2 car companies, by the way. So basically for NIO, they made it so that you get the subsidy. They'll always get the subsidy no matter what.
Even if you bought it pre-owned?
Well, it doesn't matter how many cars they sell. They will always get the subsidy because they have this changing battery.
Oh,
thing.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so the ET7, like we said, 69 grand starting. I think goes up to 80. The electric car can work with NIO's autonomous driving. The electric car can work with NIO's autonomous driving system that features technology that founder William Li claims surpasses that of Tesla. I don't know about that. Deliveries for the ET7 are set to begin in the first quarter of 2022. So this car is not coming out right now, which is also, I don't know, the first quarter of 2020. Okay. Lee says, okay. So Beijing, these Chinese car startups, NIO released its first sedan on Saturday with self-driving technology features that the company claims surpasses that of Tesla. Pre-subsidy prices, we discussed 69,000 to with a 70 kilowatt per hour battery pack. If customers choose to pay for battery services, that's the battery as a service that they have, okay? Based on 980 yuan monthly subscription fee, the vehicle costs 378,000 yuan, which is considerably cheaper. It's like $10,000 or so cheaper.
Yeah.
Maybe 15,000 even. Deliveries are set to begin in the first quarter of 2022. Company founder and chairman William Li said at a launch event at Chengdu, China, pre-orders began Saturday. And it'd be nice to find out then, I guess, how many pre-orders at some point that they have.
I was just trying to look for that, because when they talk about the percentages increases of their cars, the number of units that they're moving is not nearly as many units as Tesla, but they are moving units.
Yeah. I think we counted 15,000 or so, 16,000 units now, which is like 75,000 a year. Next year, they're projecting, obviously, possibly a doubling. Well, they have capacity for 150,000 units. I don't know if they're projecting they're going to hit all that, but that'd be kind of amazing. Even if they grew 50% year over year, it'd be over 100,000 cars that they ship, which is still, they're growing. Let's put it this way. The cool thing they did, which could be a bad thing because, well, I'll tell you why, but they have a camera they have multiple cameras for their autonomous driving, 8 megapixel cameras versus the 1.2 megapixels for Tesla.
Right.
And this is where they're using NVIDIA processors, by the way, specific, they have this whole board that they showed at the NIODay and everything. Looks cool and all that. I'm an engineer. I realized that, first of all, processing that much data, Tesla says you don't need that much data too. They actually said that's why they don't have those high megapixel cameras. That's why they use 1.2 megapixels. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming Tesla's right. You probably don't need 8 megapixels. And I think they're loading it up with just a bunch of tech and to put numbers that are bigger than Tesla's. In this case, I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know the actual answer to why they're using 8 megapixels.
Lidar versus AI.
Camera vision, basically. So they're using 4 NVIDIA Drive Orin cores, whatever, A76 CPU, 48 CPU cores, 256 tensor cores, 8,096 CUDA cores. So it's a graphics card, 68 billion transistors. So who else is doing this? That's the thing. Like, what other companies trying to push besides Tesla? Obviously, we know them, but besides NIO, Tesla, NIO, what's the third company that's trying to do this?
You'll see companies partnering.
Right. Well, I guess they are partnering with NVIDIA, and I'm not sure if this is proprietary. I don't know if they paid them to develop their own thing. I have no idea about that. Maybe this is going to be in every car.
It could be a custom chip.
It could be.
That's not unheard of. I mean, NVIDIA would make a custom chip if the order was big enough.
Oh yeah. As soon as they know they're getting like minimum 100,000 vehicles every year.
They're putting 4 in each one. It's worth it.
Yeah, take a look at this right here on top of the car, plus 2 cameras on the pillars that actually see the nice peripheral view of everything. So they have good views. So check this out. Like on the left is the B pillar position of the camera. How much more you can see. They're showing you like the bigger view that you can see with the camera. And obviously they're doing machine vision as well. They did a Lidar, right? A front-facing Lidar. So you know the way you ever seen those big like Waymo cars with the Lidar spinning all over? They don't do that. It's actually built nicely into the car and it looks sleek. And all the cameras on the top mounted too that see the peripheral. So they incorporated this technology, which Elon Musk hates, by the way, Lidar.
Never bet against Elon Musk. When you see the karma that Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world.
Oh, that's great karma. He deserves it.
But it's not because he tried to be the richest man. It's because he tried to do the most good. And he literally said in 2018, half my money is going to go to people on earth. The other half money is going. And he's the perfect man to give that money to because and this is why people put the money in. This is why no one's selling Tesla.
By the way, really, I bought a Tesla. I didn't buy a NIO. I bought a Tesla.
You tried to buy the NIO, but you couldn't understand that.
I couldn't understand Chinese.
He's like, I don't know what I bought, but it has 4 wheels and it's blue.
You know what? If I had an ability to get a second car, NIOs are actually nice. I like the EC6. I do like that car.
Listen, here's the thing.
But I'm not buying that. I'm buying a Tesla. Ba-boom.
But here's the thing. As a product, it's a nice car. It's a nice car. I like the app. The app is really nice. I love that it's just a really clean purchase. And on a fundamental level, even though I don't think it's the perfect technology, I like the idea of the battery swap. And as we said in the Bull and Bear video, one thing that did kind of raise an eyebrow is that we don't hear them talking about becoming an energy player. If you've got a battery as a service, to me, that's setting up this unbelievable network of energy distribution.
Yeah, and I wonder if China is supporting them for that too. That could be a good reason China's supporting them.
These are things that I'd like to hear them talking about as part
of
the
don't. I've never heard it. I've never heard that.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you're right, though. I think you're right. And I think their plan long term, it totally makes sense because if they're going to have all this power somewhere already connected to the grid, remember, it's getting charged. Why can't it feed the grid when it needs to? It's all going to work itself out that way. And what you brought up, like nobody's even covering, by the way. That's why this is kind of cool because you look at other NIO YouTubers talking about this. No one has brought up, to your point, it's connected to the grid. That means at one point it could feed the grid when the grid needs and calls for energy. These are little enclosures that they put anywhere they want, connected to the grid. And it has, I think, I don't know how many batteries, 30, 20, I'm not sure how many batteries it has. But basically, you put your NIO in there, and now it charges you, it swaps your battery, it charges those batteries, next car comes in, it gives you another battery.
How does it charge those batteries?
It's connected to the grid.
It doesn't charge with solar. Interesting.
No, it's connected to the grid. You don't have to be feeding it all the time. It's just for like that 2 seconds to make sure that this building doesn't go out of power. That's it.
Absolutely. Listen, and I get that as part of like a backup to like an emergency generator system. That means NIO could bring their costs down even more if the power to charge those batteries came from solar panels. Then when they're giving customers and they're getting money, it's full profit. They're not at least paying for anything to charge that battery back.
Well, once again, I don't know their plan. Maybe they are planning to do that when it's outside. I have no idea on that. But here, let's watch what it is just for people who don't know what the battery as a service thing is. You can swap the battery. You can change it out like we used to do with our laptops, I guess.
Yeah, in those days, it was still unibody. So your little car goes in.
Well, yeah, they gotta align the car.
Yeah. That's where the Chinese government takes all of your information, downloads it to the server.
Right, that's right. And that's where they liquefy you for food.
Oh my God.
Honestly, this is really super cool. And it's, even if you don't like NIO, just the feat of engineering.
Listen, no, that is phenomenal. Have you ever been to one of those automatic parking garages?
I have never been, but the feat of engineering is insane here.
It is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It's actually good to be skeptical. And I am skeptical about a lot of things. Like here, back to the article of what they did. So NIO announces at this NIODay event, 150 kilowatt solid state battery for 2022. This is my problem with it. NIO doesn't make batteries. So why are you announcing a solid state battery? Because you're not going to make this battery. Okay. CATL is the big battery manufacturer in China. They're probably making this. I don't know if that has come out, but most likely it's that company, which Tesla has a deal with. I think Volkswagen has, I mean, everybody has a deal with CATL. It's one of the biggest battery manufacturers in China. So my problem is like, why are you even talking about it at NIODay? Like, yeah, this is not going to be new. This is not going to be only for you. So I do have an issue with that. And saying it's coming out in 2022, solid state is still in the works. Well, solid, even quantums. Have you heard of QuantumScape? What are they called? The new battery solid state manufacturer that blew up in the stock market. There was a big, they went literally from like $10 to 150. Like, we should have been in that.
Right.
We should have been invested in that spat.
That's what we should have been invested in.
Well, we didn't invest in it, unfortunately. And the thing is, they're not coming out with a battery till 2023, 2024, 2025, somewhere around there. 3, 4, 5 years. By then, NIO and Tesla are selling cheaper cars. Their lithium ion technology is already better. So like, my point is that the solid state thing doesn't seem like it sounds ready.
A lot like it sounds a lot like we're gonna have hydrogen stations in 20.
It sounds like Nikola. That's like a Nikola thing,
yeah,
right?
But it's not going to be needed. If we go the way we're going, it's not going to be needed.
The first car, the ET7 that comes out, is not going to have this. So the other problem is, why would you want to buy this car if it doesn't have this battery and you think the next person's going to have this battery? So I feel that's bad to even announce.
Confusing messaging. It's just confusing messaging.
Yeah, unless you're in battery as a service.
But it's NIODay. It is something that's coming, and it is 150 kilowatt. I mean, the other one has 70. I mean, that's a
well, they actually have 100 kilowatt. They already have 100 kilowatt too.
Okay,
that's the higher priced vehicle.
So it's a 50% or 100%
yes
range.
I love NIO. The prediction is this is not happening Q1 2022. I think I'm going to be 100% right in this.
It seems to me like they're taking a page of Tesla's playbook on the publicity side and saying, look, just announce this stuff, let it get out there and have people talking about it and adjust the timelines later. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Okay.
I see your point, though.
And even Tesla announced a Cybertruck, probably going to be 2.5 years before it actually comes out.
But is he off of his projections is the point. It's about the projections. It's about being accurate with the projections.
Yeah, I think Q1 2022 is very optimistic for solid state, not for the car. The car might be out, but you might not have this 150 kilowatt battery in that car. And that means you need battery as a service. You won't want to buy that battery because you're getting the better one.
Listen, you know what though? Just comparing it to a situation like one of our other favorite companies, Wise, that we both want to IPO. I have a current alarm system right now that I'm not happy with, and I really want to upgrade it. Since Wise has announced that they're going to offer a full-on burglar system, and it could be up to 6 months away, I am not purchasing any other system. So
you're waiting.
This thing that NIO is saying could be something where someone goes, you know what, man, like my lease is going to run out on my current car at the end of 2021. Maybe I'm going to get that NIO because my car's going to run out then. And so I'm not going to trade it in early and get this other piece of crap. I'm going to wait. It's a smart move.
No. You do that's a valid point because they want that future audience. And the car is priced so much higher than their other cars that I don't think it's competing with their cars.
Tesla's had enough of those. This is coming, and then it lands, and it's amazing that other companies can say that. And you can only get away with it twice if you fail. But if you hit those things, then you can ride a little bit of that. You can get a little bit of that cred. I mean, that's what Trevor Milton failed at, right? Just keep.
Well, yeah, he couldn't actually produce anything. NIO has proven this is their fourth vehicle. They're obviously producing vehicles.
If you're looking at it as just like, oh, it's a $15 stock that could go to 30, look at the charts, cool. Investing in this company long term, even if they make money, I have a fundamental problem investing in a country where there's no personal freedom.
Alibaba, Jack Ma might be missing. We don't know because the Chinese government, he said something against them. They didn't like what he said.
Ma, the co-founder and figurehead of e-commerce giant Alibaba Group Holding, was last seen on October 31st when he took part in the live-streamed gala extravaganza to kick off China's Festival of Spending, Double 11. That was exactly 1 week after he gave a speech at a financial conference in Shanghai in which he criticized China's banking regulators and industry, calling out the state-run banks for having a pawn-shop mentality. Bad move. Several highly influential bankers and regulators were in attendance, spluttering into their Nongfu spring bottled water. Behind the scenes, we hear Chinese President Xi Jinping was furious. She had already met privately a couple of years back with Ma and the founder of video game maker and WeChat app operator Tencent Holdings, Pony Ma, who is no relation, to remind China's two richest people and most famous executives that their companies operate only at the behest of the Communist Party. He needed not remind them, is the only sheriff in town.
Well, who knows, right? We don't know if he's gone or not. Supposedly the news is that he is staying out of the limelight, supposedly, and he's alive. You do have a valid point in that. Like, Chinese companies can be a bit risky, but also I think of it as not as risky because, look, China wants to be a major global power. By murdering all of their CEOs and Americans not making money off these companies is also not good for China.
It's not that they're preventing people from making money. It's that they just want to pick the winner. They don't want the market to pick the
they
winner.
definitely pick the winner.
They want that one to win.
I'm not comfortable supporting a lot of Chinese companies, but when there's an actual good possibility that a company will 10x on you, to me as an investor, once again, let's bring it back to investing. They are saying EVs in 2025 will be, I think, 20 to 25% minimum of all vehicles. Almost any Chinese brand you buy, even Xpeng, and there's BYD, there's a couple of them that are actually popping. You're basically going to make more money.
If you're looking at NIO as a play to like throw it in and triple your money and get out, kind of like we did with BNGO, cool, throw your money in there and get out. Pushing them when I know that there could have been other competitors that the Chinese government got rid of and that's their golden child. I'm not down with that. That's one of the reasons I took all my money out of the oil stocks, even though they pay great dividends. And we did too for a while. We said, you know what? Man, those dividends are so good, but I feel good because I'm going to take that money out and I'm going to do some good with it.
We all draw a line. I agree with you there. And I did get rid of the oil, actually in dividends, SPHD, I think. SPHD.
That was a very high yield. That was a very high yield.
And I went to SCHD, which I believe from last time I checked did not have like Exxon and some oil things. And it had better companies that I thought were better long-term. I also thought oil is on the way out. So there's two things going on. As someone investing, oil is literally on the way out. EVs are on the way in. So I made a business decision too, not just a sort of, environmental one, which is important too, by the way. And both companies are EVs. So honestly, if China's pushing EVs, I know we hate the government. It's not a great government for people, but they're pushing EVs. And they're trying to go cleaner. They're actually doing something good.
Okay, China is one of the world's top polluters. I think they're doing this because they're hitting a critical mass. I mean, Shanghai they have these indoor playgrounds for kids where they have to pump in air. This is not because they want to do good.
Well, they have to.
I get it.
They have to.
Having Tesla sell to the Chinese market is different than investing in a company with ties to the government that is being propped up at the sake of other EV plays. Like, check this out. NIO's success is anchored to support from the government to a great extent. While it did receive financial support in the form of a $1 billion bailout last year, it came at a cost. The $1 billion was provided by a consortium of state-owned organizations. In return, NIO needed to establish a separate company, NIO China, and transfer its core assets in China valued at around, $18 billion, to the new entity. Assets included R&D, supply chain and manufacturing, and NIO Power Network, the battery charging and power swap facility network. The investor group would own around 24% of NIO China, along with voting rights, and the rest would belong to NIO Inc. Additionally, NIO has committed to building a new headquarters for NIO China. By its own admission, NIO Motors acknowledged that granting voting rights to the investor group would limit its ability to make certain major corporate decisions with regard to the new subsidiary. Moreover, if NIO doesn't meet certain corporate agreements, including failure to take NIO China's subsidiary public within 5 years, the investors can redeem their shares at an 8.5% premium. If that happens and NIO doesn't have adequate cash, the company may be forced to sell its own stake in NIO China and consequently lose control of its operations in China. This implies that even with a minority stake in the new entity, by virtue of their equity injection, the investors have a senior claim to the company's capital structure. If for any other reason the business goes sideways, the investors would receive a hefty payout. On the flip side, if NIO manages to meet all the agreements, the group of investors stands to benefit from the 24% equity in the company. While it's true that state support is key to NIO's success, it has come at a huge cost to the company. NIO's risk of insolvency has been replaced by other operational and financial risks. Meanwhile, the government receives a guaranteed return on its investment.
Look, obviously, probably the CEO of NIO has connections to the Chinese government. Okay,
that's what
I'm fine with that, first of all, because connections work the same in America. Okay, if you have connections to the president, you're going to get a better deal. He's going to stand in front of your car. He didn't stand in front of a Tesla. He didn't stand up anything else. He stood in front of that car. It's the same thing. There's political wrangling going on. Obviously, the Chinese are more blatant about it. China has picked NIO to be a winner.
Do you think this guy's not going to turn up? This guy's not going to turn up. I don't think
We're
so.
talking about Jack Ma from
Yeah,
Alibaba.
I mean, if he doesn't
turn up, I mean, this is bad for China, bad for America, bad for investors, really bad. That's not a good situation.
And what kind of precedent does it set for any future company? Like the CEO of NIO, do you think he'll ever say anything to the government?
Never.
I have a problem with making money and getting bad karma at the same time.
Cool. I don't. And that was the episode, guys.
You see that, guys? Like and subscribe here, and let's give Vitaly some help, guys. We got to do.
Guys, yeah, I got it. Guys, get me a conscious like and subscribe.
I really am curious what our audience thinks of this company.
Do you guys like NIO? I think that's enough coverage for NIODay. That's all there is about it. We had a lot of good information.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Jesus.
We're going to fight just like that when I start talking about Virgin Galactic. And you're like, no, they're not. Watch.